My beloved child, pause for a moment and listen carefully. What I am about to reveal is not something to ignore. Even now, events are unfolding beyond what your eyes can see, and they carry a message that deserves your full attention. You may feel as though everything around you is ordinary, but there is more happening than you realize. Open your heart, stay with me until the end, and reflect carefully on what follows. This is not a story from the ancient past, nor is it a parable of what might be. This is a real-time recounting of a spiritual collision that is happening at this very moment. I need you to center yourself and open your heart. For what I am about to tell you involves a trap that was set for you. A trap that has snapped shut in a way no one expected. Just 3 hours ago, a woman's life began to unravel in a way that defies medical explanation, her breath growing faint, as if it was the very air refuses to enter her lungs. Her skin, which was flush with the heat of anger only this morning, is now turning cold as frost, and her heart is stumbling in its rhythm, beating wildly, and then slowing down as if it is clinging to a fading melody. She is lying there right now, gripped by a terror she cannot articulate, because something shocking struck her, a twist so sharp it feels like the universe itself spun a web to ensnare her in her own schemes. She is confused, she is terrified, and she is realizing too late that she is not the hunter she thought she was. To put it plainly, my child, she was poisoned. Yes, poisoned, but not by a stranger, and not by an enemy who broke into her home. This isn't just about the physical act of poisoning, or a substance entering the blood, it is about something far deeper and more ancient. It is about who she is, what she plotted in the dark when she thought no one was watching, and why the very weapon she forged turned against her with such breathtaking speed. It is about how every hidden truth, every concealed motive, and every silent curse she whispered, is now clawing its way to the surface to be seen by the light. I am going to reveal every secret she held, every whispered plan she made against you, and every step that led to this catastrophic moment that is about to be unveiled. But before we go further, I need to know you are with me. If you are ready to hear the truth of how you were protected from a danger you didn't even know existed, leave a comment below saying, "I am listening," or "I receive the truth." Your engagement helps this message reach others who may be walking blindly beside hidden enemies, just as you were. So my child, lend me your heart, hold tight, and let me guide you through a story that will grip you, shake you, and keep you on edge until the very end. Let's begin by looking at who she was just a short while ago. This woman wasn't always the trembling figure she is now, with her life slipping through her fingers like sand. If you had seen her 3 hours ago, you would have seen a woman alive with fire, her eyes sharp with intent, and her heart pulsing with a plan she was absolutely certain was foolproof. She carried herself with the quiet certainty of someone convinced that every move she made could shape another person's future. Darkness did not define her from the beginning, nor was it her destiny. It took root little by little, nourished by bitterness left unchecked, jealousy allowed to linger, and wounds she refused to heal. With every choice to cling to anger instead of letting it go, that darkness grew stronger until it became part of the path she walked. Her journey to this tragic moment began days ago, in a place far removed from the city's pulse where the air hangs heavy and the ground seems to whisper secrets older than time cloaked in mystery, a woman known only in hushed tones who lived in a house that felt alive with shadows. This was not a place of light or healing. The walls were weathered and scarred by years of desperate souls seeking dark favors, and the air inside was thick, not with dust, but with the weight of choices made in desperation, in anger and in pain. She sat across from this figure, an old woman with hair like tangled roots and eyes that seemed to pierce the veil between worlds, a woman who needed no introduction and asked for no pleasantries. The old woman knew why people came to her door. She knew the scent of hatred and the look of desperation. She sat there, her voice a low murmur that seemed to vibrate in the floorboards, and simply asked, "Who do you wish to destroy and why?" The woman didn't flinch, she didn't hesitate or show a flicker of remorse. "Your name, my child," fell from her lips like a blade, sharp with envy, heavy with rage, and dripping with a desire to see you fall. She spoke of you with a bitterness that had poisoned her own blood long before she sought to poison you. She spoke as if your existence was a wound she couldn't bear, as if your happiness was a personal insult to her misery. She described you as if your light cast a shadow she couldn't escape, and she believed that the only way for her to shine was to extinguish you. She didn't just want to hurt you temporarily, her desire was total. She wanted to erase you, to steal your joy, to shatter your peace, and to dismantle your very future. The old woman remained still, her face unreadable, absorbing the toxicity of the request without judgment, and then she slid a small vial across the table. It was tiny, dark as midnight, and its contents shimmered like a trapped star, beautiful yet terrifying. Along with the vial came a folded piece of paper, fragile as a dried leaf, holding words that carried the weight of life and death. Instructions, or perhaps a warning, written in ink that looked like old blood. The woman gripped the vial immediately, her fingers steady and possessive, her heart racing with the thrill of what she thought was ultimate power. She looked at that dark liquid and saw her victory. She saw your end and her beginning. But the paper? She barely glanced at it before letting it fall to the ground as she left that shadowed place, discarded like a forgotten promise. She was so consumed by her objective that she had no patience for reading, no patience for caution. That was her first mistake, my child, and it was a fatal one. That paper wasn't just a note, and it wasn't just a receipt for a dark transaction. It was a lifeline. It was a warning that could have pulled her back from the abyss she was about to step into. But she didn't want warnings. She didn't want to hear about balance or consequences. She wanted victory at any cost. She wanted you to fall so badly that she blinded herself to the danger in her own hand. She thought she could wield something so dangerous, something so spiritually volatile, and walk away unscathed. She returned to her home with the vial feeling alive in her hands, like it held the answer to all her pain and the solution to all her insecurities. She moved with precision, her mind painting vivid pictures of your downfall, replaying the scene over and over again in her head. She was convinced that she was the author of this story, never realizing that the ink she was using was about to spill all over her own life. She thought she was in control, but she was merely a player in a game of spiritual law she did not understand, and had foolishly chosen to ignore. She was wrong, my child, so terribly devastatingly wrong in her calculations. Back, in the safety of her home, away from the prying eyes of the world, the vial felt alive in her hands, vibrating with a dark energy she mistook for a solution to her problems. She moved with a frightening precision, her hands steady as she prepared the setting, her mind painting vivid, detailed pictures of your downfall. She replayed the scene in her head like a favorite movie, your unsuspecting approach, your trust, and then the inevitable moment of her triumph. Exactly 3 hours ago she unscrewed that dark vessel and poured 3 drops of that shimmering liquid into a drink meant specifically for you, imagining the exact second you would take a sip, the moment you would falter, and the moment her plan would finally come to life. She watched the liquid swirl and vanish, invisible to the naked eye, and felt a surge of arrogant power. She truly thought she held the strings of destiny, believing that her anger was strong enough to bend the world to her will and reshape reality to fit her desires, but she forgot the most fundamental law of existence. The world does not bow to hatred, my child, it bends only to truth, and the truth was waiting in that room silent, invisible, and relentless, standing guard over you. When you finally came near that drink, when you stood within reach of the trap she had laid, something shifted in the atmosphere, not in you, but in her. You didn't touch it, you didn't even need to lift the glass or bring it to your lips. The moment she set her plan in motion, and the moment you stepped into the line of fire, something unseen stirred in the air, a protective force that recognized the darkness and rejected it instantly. Her hands, which had been so steady just moments before, began to shake, not with the excitement of victory, but with something colder, deeper, and far more terrifying. Her breath grew uneven, catching in her throat as if the air had suddenly turned thin. Her heart, which had been beating with anticipation, suddenly stumbled, skipping beats and falling out of time. She stared at you, her eyes wide, waiting for you to collapse, waiting for the poison to do its work, waiting for the moment she had dreamed of for so long. But you stood tall, completely untouched, radiant and calm, as if the world itself refused to let her darkness anywhere near you. You were oblivious to the death in the cup, but your spirit knew, and the covering over your life stood like a wall of fire between you and her malice. And then the reversal began. It started subtly, then rushed over her like a tidal wave. Her skin turned cold, like frost creeping over a window pane in the dead of winter. Her vision blurred, the edges of the room softening into a gray haze, and the confident clarity she possessed moments ago dissolved into confusion. Her legs gave way beneath her, losing their strength, and she grasped at the air, trying desperately to hold on to something, anything, to keep her upright. Confusion struck her first. A wild, frantic inability to understand why she was the one falling. Then came the fear. And finally, a deep, gnawing horror that settled in her gut. In her panic, her mind raced for someone to blame. She thought she had been betrayed. She thought that the old woman in the shadowed house had given her the wrong vial, or that someone had somehow switched the cups. She cursed the shadows, she cursed the old woman, and she cursed the very air she breathed. Convinced she was a victim of treachery. But no one betrayed her, my child, not in the way she thinks. Not the old woman, not the vial, and not even the darkness she tried to wield. The ultimate betrayal came from her own ignorance. She betrayed herself the moment she ignored the warning. That paper she discarded, the one she dropped on the floor in her rush for revenge, the one she thought was irrelevant, it held the words that could have saved her life. If she had taken a single second to read it, she would have seen the law written in plain ink. This is not a poison of the body, but of the soul. It follows the heart of the one who carries it. If that heart is filled with greed, fear, or hatred, it will not always reach the one it was meant for. It will turn back on you. And turn back it did, my child, with a force she couldn't outrun, and with a spiritual weight she couldn't bear. The poison she meant for you became her own burden, seeking out the source of the hatred rather than the target of it. It wasn't just in her body, attacking her physical form, it was in her soul, unraveling her from the inside out. It crept through her veins, chilling her skin and dimming her light, but worse, it began whispering truths she had buried deep within her conscience. She heard voices, not from the room, not from the world outside, but from within her own spirit. Every bitter thought she had nursed, every lie she told herself to justify her envy, every moment she chose anger over peace. It all came rushing back, loud and relentless, like a storm she couldn't escape. This wasn't chance, my child, and it wasn't bad luck. This was the way of things, the immutable law of truth that governs the universe. What you send out returns, not always in the shape you expect, but always in the way it is meant to. She thought she could curse what was protected. She thought she could dim a light that was meant to shine. But you, my child, are guarded not by chance, not by luck, and not by your own cleverness, but by something greater, something that sees every heart, every step, and every hidden intention. The moment she turned against you, she turned against herself. Now, as she lies there, her breath faint and her body fading, she is facing a truth she never wanted to see, a truth that is breaking her apart. You must understand, my child, that there are laws in this universe that are as solid as the ground beneath your feet, and she has broken herself against them. She is learning too late that you cannot break what is held by light, and you cannot touch what is wrapped in love. Her plan didn't just fail in a physical sense, it turned inward and consumed her entirely. As she lies there now, her skin, which once held the flush of life, is now pale as moonlight, drained of its vitality. Her hands, which she thought were steady enough to pour poison, now tremble uncontrollably like leaves caught in a violent storm. Her eyes, once sharp with a wicked purpose, now struggle to hold the world in focus as her reality fractures. Inside her mind, the silence has been replaced by a cacophony she cannot escape. She hears it all. Every cruel word she ever spoke about you, every envious glance she threw your way when you weren't looking, and every single moment she consciously chose darkness over light. It plays on a loop like a song she cannot stop, a relentless reminder of the specific choices that led her to this bed of affliction. But I need you to listen closely, because this story isn't just about her suffering, it is a lesson for you too, it is a testament to the power of your choices, the weight of your words, and the immense strength of your heart. The world acts as a mirror, my child. What you give to it returns to you, not always right away, but always in truth. She forgot that, but you must remember it, you must walk carefully and speak gently, understanding that your words carry more power than you know. They have the ability to lift someone up or tear them down, to heal a deep wound or leave a lasting scar. Even in your quietest moments, when no one else is around, your thoughts are shaping the world around you, so choose the ones that bring light. We must go deeper now, for this woman did not walk this path entirely alone, and this is where the trap was widened. There were others involved, not many, but enough to make her feel bold and justified in her hatred. These were voices in the shadows, people who whispered in her ear and fed her resentment, telling her she was right to feel wronged, and that you deserve less than what you had. They didn't hold the vial themselves, and they didn't pour the drops, but they helped light the fire that is now burning her alive. They were her echo chamber, her encouragement, and her excuse to embrace her worst instincts. But look at where they are now. As she fades, as the consequences settle in, they are gone, scattered like dust in the wind, leaving her to face the storm completely alone. This is a truth you must hold close to your spirit. Be very careful who you let near your heart. Not every smile directed at you is honest, and not every kind word spoken to your face is true. Some people carry their own shadows and their own storms, and they will try to pull you into them just to feel less alone in their darkness. They will speak words that sound like wisdom, but feel like a heavy weight on your soul, nudging you toward paths that lead nowhere but down. You must learn to listen to the quiet voice inside you, the one that knows what is true and what is right regardless of what the crowd says. Surround yourself only with those who see your light and want it to shine brighter, not those who want to dim it because it exposes their own darkness. Let us talk about her heart, because that is where this entire tragedy began, long before she ever sought out a weapon. Long before she knocked on the door of that shadowed house, and before she ever spoke your name with bitterness, something dark took root inside her. It wasn't sudden. It didn't happen in one dramatic moment. It was a slow creep, a seed of envy that was planted every time she saw your smile, heard your name mentioned with praise, or felt that her own life wasn't measuring up. She began to compare her path to yours, measuring her struggles against your victories, and instead of choosing to grow from that feeling, she chose to resent you for it. That is where it started, a simple choice, small at first, but one that grew until it consumed her entire identity. Comparison is a thief, my child. It steals your joy, it steals your peace, and it ultimately steals your purpose. When you measure your life against someone else's, you step onto a path that leads nowhere but to despair. You must understand that your journey is yours alone, and it was never meant to look like anyone else's. Your struggles, your wins, and your quiet moments are all part of a story written just for you, and you must embrace it and trust it fully. Do not let envy or doubt steal what is yours. You are enough, not because of what you have or what you do, but simply because of who you are. When the world tries to pull you down, when voices whisper that you are not enough or that you don't belong, you must listen to the truth instead. You are here for a reason, and your life, your breath, and your heart are part of a greater plan. You don't need to understand it all right now, just trust it. Trust that every step you take and every choice you make is seen. Trust that even when you stumble, you are not falling alone. There is a hand holding you, a light guiding you, and a love carrying you through, even when the shadows feel close. Let us return to that woman one last time, my child, because her story is not quite done, and the final chapter holds the most critical lesson for your own soul. As she lies there fading, stripped of her pretenses and her plans, she is not just facing the physical effects of the poison she brewed. She is facing herself in a way she never has before. Every choice she made in the dark, every cruel word she whispered, and every moment she chose darkness over light, is playing out before her eyes like a film she cannot turn off. It is not just the vial or the chemical reaction that has undone her. It is the crushing weight of her own heart. She lived under the illusion that she could control the outcome, that she could write the story of your destruction and then walk away unscathed, but she learned too late that no one writes alone. You must understand this profound spiritual truth. Every choice, every word, and every thought is a thread in a tapestry far bigger than you, woven by hands much greater than yours. You, my child, are a vital part of that tapestry, and your life is not just a series of disconnected days or random moments. It is a living story still being written, where every kind word you speak, every gentle act you perform, and every time you choose love over anger becomes a thread of light woven into something beautiful. So I urge you to keep weaving with intention, keep choosing light even when it is hard, and keep choosing love even when the world feels heavy. Those choices are not invisible. They shape not just your own story, but the very fabric of the world around you. We must also look at the world she lived in, because it is the same world that shaped her and the same world you walked through today. She wasn't born with this anger or this consuming envy. It grew inside her, fed by a society that thrives on comparison and pushes us constantly to measure our worth against others. She lived in an environment where people whispered about who had more, who shone brighter and who stood taller, and she allowed those whispers to become her truth. She let them sink into her heart until they convinced her that she wasn't enough, and instead of fighting back against those lies, she let them guide her to that shadowed house and that moment of no return. You live in that world too, my child, a world that is loud, quick to judge, and always pushing you to be more, do more, and have more. But here is your power. You don't have to listen. You do not have to measure your life by its broken standards. Your worth is not found in what you have, what you achieve, or what others think of you. It is found in who you are, in the heart you bring to the table, and in the love you share with those around you. So stand tall in your own identity, be unapologetically you, and let the noise of the world fade until you can hear the quiet truth inside, for that is where your strength lies. Strength, my child, is something you possess even when you do not feel it. True strength isn't just standing tall when things are easy and the sun is shining. It is standing firm when the ground shakes, when the storms come, and when the world feels like it is conspiring against you. It is choosing to keep going, to keep loving, and to keep hoping, even when it hurts. That is the strength you carry. It is the same strength that kept you untouched when she tried to bring you down, a gift that isn't just yours but a light shining through you, and a love holding you steady. She didn't see that strength because she didn't understand it. She thought her anger was stronger than your light, but she was fundamentally wrong. Your strength cannot be touched by envy, hatred, or darkness, because it is rooted in something greater, something eternal. That is why you are still here, still standing, and still shining while the darkness consumes itself. This brings us to the ultimate meaning for your life. Type Amen to get blessing 777. You have a choice every single day. You can walk in light or linger in shadows. You can lift others up or pull them down. You can speak words that heal or words that harm. Those choices matter more than you know because they ripple out, touching lives you may never see and shaping the world in ways you may never know. Choose carefully, my child. Choose love. Choose kindness and choose the path that reflects the light inside you. And when you falter, because you are human and you will, when you doubt or when the world feels too heavy to carry, remember this, you are not alone. There is a presence with you always in the quiet moments and the loud ones in the joy and the pain. It is a love that never fades, a strength that never falters, and a light that never dims. When you feel lost or broken, turn to that presence, speak your truth, roar, and reel, and you will find exactly what you need. It may not always be what you want or what you expect, but it will always be what you need. This story is a mirror for us all, showing us the power of our choices and the undeniable truth we cannot escape. The woman thought she could write her story alone and bend the world to her will, but she failed to see the bigger picture. So as you walk through this world, carry this truth with you: you are not defined by what others think, by what they say, or by what they try to take from you. You are defined by the heart you bring and the light you shine. Shine brightly, love fiercely, and live boldly, because you are here, you are alive, and you are loved always. If these words encouraged your heart, don't let this moment pass by. Subscribe to this channel and become part of a community that seeks hope, faith, and encouragement every day. If you'd like, leave a comment such as, "I choose hope," or, "My faith gives me strength." Your encouragement may inspire someone else who needs it today. May peace guide your steps, hope fill your heart, and love remain with you wherever you go. Thank you for being here, and welcome to this community.